after a trial of long months, I had at last finished my second novel, The House Beautiful, I set down my ballpoint pen and lifted a flute of congratulatory champagne to the mantel mirror. Grinning back at me was a cruel conspiracy of folds, crannies, and flaps. I shuddered, but reminded myself that while such facial wear and tear is certainly the most obvious toll the artist pays on the road to immortality, it is hardly the most dear. An unknown galley slave once carved into his giant oar, "Oft did I weary of wrestling with thee." I would like to have tattooed the same thing onto the left tit of my muse, for she had all but wrecked me on this book. My body was weak, my spirit all but broken. Yet somehow I had prevailed. "Well done, old feller," I whispered. It was just then, as I raised the bubbles to my lips, that I was struck by a terrible premonition that I would never write another word again, because I would soon be dead. I lowered the crystal and saw myself sprawled on a filthy square of pavement, clutching and wheezing as the sky shrank to the size of a postage stamp. Concerned New Yorkers stepped over me as though I were a smear of dog dirt. Soon I would lie deep with Manhattan's nameless dead, gone forever, like a dream. And quite frankly, it didn't take a psychic to predict my death by heart attack. Since boyhood, I had loved figs better than long life, which is a fancy way of saying that I had feasted on fat things, huffed far too many cigarettes, and drunk deep the folly of cheap wine. As a result, I had, in recent years, suffered sporadic bouts of angina. Lately, my knees had begun to fail at the most inopportune times. I was no stranger to vertigo. And so, picturing my own death, I was not peevish. In almost 7 decades on the planet, I had done nothing to earn longevity. I had no right to quibble now. I sipped my champagne and consoled myself with the idea that maybe an end to my writing career was not such a bad thing after all. 2 superb novels were already 2 more superb novels than I had ever expected to write, and as I had already mined my past of all its best ore, a 3rd book would have been drawn entirely from the present, which was unthinkable. What could be more tedious than the last days of an ailing bachelor? Of course, I might invent something, but this was well beyond the powers of my imagination. The book I had just finished writing, The House Beautiful, was, like my debut novel, Christopher, based entirely on fact. Although little more than reportage, both books glide by like poems and are nearly impossible to put down. I could never make up anything even a tenth as good. And so there, my writing career and my heart would certainly have sputtered to a stop had it not been for the fateful ring of the telephone. It was a drizzly autumn in early November 2003 when Hollywood called. The voice on the other end was raspy and avaricious. She asked me to hold. A moment later, she connected me to her boss, a movie producer by the name of Mr. Harold Shipp. Footnote: the names of all people associated with Hollywood have been changed twice in this book. First by the person in question to hide his religion, criminal record, or ordinariness, and then by me to prevent litigation. In the brusque manner of his trade, he told me that he had just put down my novel, Christopher, loved it, and were the film rights available. I nearly wept with joy. Not because I had any high regard for contemporary cinema, in fact I did not, but because my novels had earned me less than the cost of my legal pads. As a matter of fact, they are available, I replied, but I'm afraid you can't afford them. I had read somewhere that Hollywood people, like cats and women, are irresistibly drawn toward those who show them the most indifference. This insight proved itself to be true, and rather than taking offense at my rebuff, Mr. Shipp barked a skeptical laugh and asked me to name my price. Not so fast, I snapped. Before we talk numbers, I must warn you that my narrative voice is absolutely impossible to imitate. So unless you're prepared to hire me to write the movie script, I'm afraid we have nothing more to discuss. Not a problem, he said. Bouncing up and down in my chair, I decided to push my luck even farther. I'm sorry, I sniffed, but I can't bear telephones. Damnable contraptions. If you wish to continue this negotiation, you'll have to book me a first-class train ticket to California. If not, good afternoon, Mr. Shipp, and good luck. I hung up in his face. A bold gambit, yes, but I had not left Manhattan in years. I deserved a free vacation, and Mr. Shipp was just the man to give it to me. When 30 seconds had passed, my smile lost its cockiness. 15 more, and I was shaking like a leaf. I lunged at the phone. What had I done? I must track down Mr. Shipp at once. But when I laid the receiver to my ear, the mogul was still in mid-harangue. He had not even heard me hang up. And now you expect me to buy you a train ticket? And who the hell takes the train anyway? Who do you think you are, Kim Novak? No, I'm Bert Lahr, a huge scaredy cat. The last time I flew, the approach to Idlewild was nothing short of kamikazean. I vowed if I ever made it back to Earth alive, I would never fly again. Jesus Christ, you ever heard of Italy? People die in trains every goddamn day. Yes, but they die of a bump to the head. In an airplane, you're dropped thousands of feet through space, trapped for what feels like an eternity in a tube of horrors. People moan and pray, babies shriek, the cabin becomes a sauna of shameful, spontaneous defecation. And worst of all, you have to look back over your life. Labored breathing gave way to complete surrender. Mr. Shipp told me that he would be happy to reimburse me for my train ticket, and then he screamed at his secretary to book me into the Palms Plaza Hotel for a week starting on Monday. She would get back to me soon with the details. See you soon, I thrummed. Just get here. Click. I danced a little jig. Troop 1, Dream Factory 0. As I ran upstairs to announce my good news to my lodgers, what I did not know, could not have known, was what awaited me in Los Angeles was no working holiday, no mere payday in the sun, but the very story I had thought I would never live to write. My third and final novel, which you now hold in your hands, every blood-soaked word of which is true.